If Tom Telesco had known he'd only get one shot, maybe everything would have changed. In a rare moment of honesty, the former Las Vegas Raiders GM opened up on the 33rd Team podcast about his one and only season in Vegas and what really happened behind the scenes of the 2024 NFL Draft. Let's rewind. The Raiders were clearly in need of a quarterback. Aiden O'Connell was the only name on the depth chart that even slightly resembled a starting QB. Fans held their breath heading into the draft, hoping Vegas would land a future franchise leader. But then something wild happened. 6 quarterbacks flew off the board before the Raiders could even pick at 13. That moment shattered expectations. So what did they do? They pivoted and landed Brock Bowers, and honestly, most fans aren't mad about that. But here's where it gets interesting. Telesco was asked point blank, would he have drafted Michael Penix Jr. at 13 if he was still on the board? What about Bo Nix? Could J.J. McCarthy have been the guy? Telesco's answer was unexpected. We did a lot of work, talked a lot about it, but in the end, probably not. Before we dive into what this means for the Raiders' future, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and press the bell icon so you don't miss any breaking Raiders updates. Now, let's get back into it. So, was Jayden Daniels the only quarterback worth moving up for? Telesco seems to think so. And hearing that now, you can't help but wonder, if he knew his job was on the line, would he have made a different call? Tom Telesco thought he had time to build, time to fix, time to turn the Raiders around. But in the NFL, time is a luxury no one can afford. Telesco recently explained the real reason the Raiders didn't go all in on a quarterback during the 2024 draft. And his logic reveals just how broken the team's foundation really was. We weren't ready, he admitted. No infrastructure, no supporting cast. Drafting a rookie quarterback into that chaos could have been a disaster. The vision was long-term. Stack talent on both sides of the ball, create a stable roster, and then find your guy under center. Sure, Jayden Daniels was the dream. He was the easy pick if he had been available. But when it came to names like J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, and Michael Penix Jr., Telesco wasn't convinced it was worth mortgaging the future. We would have had to give up a lot, he said. And with a roster still in need of serious rebuilding, trading multiple picks just didn't make sense. Telesco also had doubts. Michael Penix Jr.'s college injury history raised red flags. Bo Nix, a bit more intriguing. Solid movement, good durability. But Telesco believed Nix had already landed in the right system elsewhere, just not in Vegas. What stings most is this. Telesco and interim head coach Antonio Pierce went in believing they had time to build something real in Las Vegas. But the brutal 2024 season changed everything. The Raiders didn't just lose, they vanished. Early flashes of competitiveness faded fast. By season's end, the silver and black had nothing to show. No identity, no direction, and no wins that mattered. Telesco's vision never got off the ground. And Raider Nation, still waiting for a new chapter worth believing in. When a team looks lost, it's never just about the players on the field. It's leadership, or the lack of it. That's exactly what the 2024 Las Vegas Raiders felt like. A ship without a captain. There was no real chemistry between Tom Telesco and Antonio Pierce. No clear direction, no shared vision. And it showed. On draft night, they weren't aiming for a quick fix. They were trying to build something for the future, even without a quarterback. Telesco understood the risk. He admitted they couldn't afford to trade away picks for a quarterback they weren't fully sold on. So instead, he pivoted, build around the quarterback spot, and let the right one come later. And to his credit, he nailed parts of that draft. Brock Bowers, an explosive tight end with star potential, landed in silver and black. He might not have brought wins yet, but he did elevate the offense. Then came Jackson Powers Johnson, a potential anchor on the offensive line. Add in Delmar Glaze, and suddenly the Raiders were forming a new core up front. This wasn't just a collection of players. This was a foundation. Unfortunately, no foundation stands without a quarterback. Gardner Minshew tried, Aiden O'Connell tried, Desmond Ridder got his shot too, but none of them brought the stability or spark the Raiders desperately needed. That revolving door under center didn't just affect the offense. It dragged the entire team down and exposed just how unprepared they were for a true rebuild. Yes, they were high on Jaden Daniels, but even if they wanted to move up, the cost would have gutted the roster. Telesco made a choice. Don't sacrifice the future chasing a maybe. And while it didn't deliver wins last season, it might have laid the first real bricks of a brighter tomorrow. But the clock in the NFL doesn't stop. And for Telesco and Pierce, it ran out too soon. The NFL draft is never predictable. Every year we see names rise and fall, and 2024 was no different. Everyone expected Shatter Sanders to go in the first or second round. He slid to the fifth. So, when people questioned why the Raiders passed on certain quarterbacks like Michael Penix Jr., it wasn't just preference, it was caution. Penix's injury history made him too much of a gamble. And even though Bo Nix looked like a fit, the Raiders had bigger concerns. Their roster wasn't ready to support a young quarterback, and they knew it. That's why they went with the best player available. Some fans weren't happy. Many wanted Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco to get one more year. After all, rebuilding takes time. Firing a regime after one rocky season, it felt too fast, too impatient. But the Raiders chose to wipe the slate clean. They brought in John Spytek as general manager, a move that signaled they were done waiting. And then came the real shocker. Pete Carroll, a proven leader with a Super Bowl pedigree, a coach who knows how to win, and more importantly, how to rebuild. Would things have been different if Telesco had stayed? Maybe. But with Spytek and Carroll, this is no longer about fixing old problems. It's about starting over, with vision, with experience, and finally, with purpose. The Las Vegas Raiders are no longer playing it safe. They're betting everything on a new era. The energy in Raiders camp right now, it's different. You can feel it. New leadership, new attitude, and a clear sense of direction. But here's the thing. Off-season hype means nothing without results. We've been fooled before. Last year, the buzz was real, until week one hit like a punch to the gut. That reality check, it might have been the best thing to happen, because that failure cleared the path for this reset. Now, with Pete Carroll running the sidelines and John Spytek calling the shots, the Raiders look more stable than they've been in years. Add in Geno Smith, Brock Bowers, and Ashton Jeanty, this roster has purpose. Honestly, Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco deserve credit for laying some groundwork. Brock Bowers, JPJ, good picks. But beyond that, it was time to move on. And John Spytek, he's not pretending this job is easy. When asked about his first draft as GM, Spytek admitted, "It was like drinking from a fire hose. You survive, you bleed a little, but you figure it out." He's leaning into collaboration with Pete Carroll. He's building with urgency, but not panic. And for the first time in a while, the Raiders front office feels aligned. Now, it's all about turning that alignment into wins. If you want to build a great NFL team, win the draft. Outdraft your rivals, and you don't just improve, you stay competitive long term. That's exactly the mindset this new Raiders regime is bringing to Las Vegas. From what we've seen so far, they're moving in the right direction. Media praise, it's pouring in. Former players are noticing. Even current Raiders are feeling the shift. Just yesterday, JPJ said, "This is the most fun I've had playing football since I was a kid." And you can see it on the field. Pete Carroll, 73 years old, out there pinning guys, hyping them up, running drills with the energy of someone half his age. It's contagious, and it's setting a new tone for the Raiders. Even the NFL Network took notice. Analyst Isaiah Stanback named the Raiders as his surprise team for 2025, saying, "They've got Pete Carroll, they've got Geno, they've got Ashton Jeanty. They're going to make some noise in the AFC. And sure, we get it. It's a tough division. But something feels different this time. Pete Carroll isn't some first-time head coach. He knows how to win. And alongside GM John Spytek, they've been smart, especially in free agency. No massive overpays, no splashy, desperate moves. They brought in Geno Smith, not as the future, but as a steady presence for right now. Then came the draft. Ashton Jeanty in the first round, Jack B. in the second, Dante Thornton Jr., who's already making waves. Then two strong offensive linemen, Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant, plus Darian Porter to round it out. No gimmicks, no drama, just solid, smart football decisions. So far, this year's rookie class looks great on paper, and everything we've heard from training camp has been positive. But as always, the real test will come in preseason. That's when we'll really start to see where this team stands. Still, I've got confidence. I've got optimism. And I truly believe the 2025 Raiders could shock the NFL. Most analysts aren't expecting much from us, but maybe that's a good thing. Personally, I think this team can win 8 or 9 games. But more importantly, I think the Raiders will be one of the most competitive teams in the league, win or lose. But what about you, Raider Nation? Am I being too optimistic, too biased? Or do you feel it too? This sense that something real is building in Las Vegas? Let me know in the comments. Will the Raiders be the most slept-on team in 2025? Or will they be the biggest surprise of the season? And what do you think? Should Tom Telesco and Antonio Pierce have gotten another shot as GM and head coach? Drop your thoughts down below. Let's talk about it.